Hi everyone, I just thought I would hop on here to tell you about my very, very dramatic and exciting day yesterday. Nothing this exciting, not much drama happens in my life. So yesterday was very exciting. Two things happened. I had employed a man through my property manager to come and fix my mosquito screens in my patio. What had happened is a few days ago, a huge iguana had climbed up my patio, my screens, and when he got to the top, he just hung out there for 3 days. On the way up, he had made a couple of holes. They've got very sharp claws, and he had made a few holes in the one side at the top. And then when he decided to leave 3 days later, he slid all the way down, and he made a huge tear in the other screen on the way down. And that's the top half, and then the bottom half, the screens were pretty old and they were just starting to deteriorate and come loose and stuff. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to replace the whole screen on that side. And as I said, I asked my property manager for the name of somebody who will come and fix the screens because I don't know anybody, and she sent this man. I won't mention his name because I think he's pretty well known around Placencia, but he showed up. And he was a very intelligent, or seemed very intelligent, confident kind of man, but he also gave the impression of a pushy car salesman. No offense to car salesmen, but he was very pushy. He was trying to tell me that I needed extra stuff on my screens that I didn't need. Well, I do need them, but not right now. And I said to him, no, you're just here to install the screens. And he pushed a little bit further, and I had to get in his face and become pretty firm and say, you will just install the screens. I don't want anything else. And he said, okay. And I said, okay. And I went inside and I carried on working, and he supposedly installed the screens. When he said he was finished, I went outside, and he had found some random pieces of lattice somewhere. They didn't even match. They weren't even the same sizes. He had installed this at the bottom half of my screens. It looked terrible. And so I said to him, you need to remove this. So we argued a little bit. He said, okay, but it was getting dark. So he said he would come back the next day and fix it. Well, of course, in true Belizean fashion, he did not come back the next day to fix it. So the following day, which was yesterday, I messaged him, and he came over right away, and I said to him, you have to remove this lattice. I didn't ask for it. It looks terrible. It doesn't even cover the whole bottom of the screen. It looks terrible. Well, this is when I found out that this man is a known drug addict or drug user. And yesterday when he was talking to me, he was clearly high, because he started yelling at me that he was doing me a favor, and he was acting in my best interests, and I had agreed to it, and I had asked for it, and lots of back and forth. He also thought that if he was going to take it down and reinstall the screens, I would have to pay him. And I'm like, well, I already paid you, and I'm not paying you again. And so this set off a whole new set of yelling and whatever. Fortunately, the owner, who lives right next door to my house, heard this going on and came round and told this guy to shut the F up, and that he must just fix the problem, install the screen, and get the hell out of there. So I went back to my work inside, and he did the job he was supposed to do, but all the while he was muttering and going on about God knows what, because I couldn't hear, but it was like he was talking to someone, and he was, every now and then he'd yell and he'd swear, and bang, 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 yell, swear, mutter, mutter. It was just, and every now and then I'd have to say, hey, you got to shut up, I'm trying to work here. So he'd shut up for 2 seconds, and then he would carry on. Thank God this went on for maybe 15-20 minutes, and he finished the job, and then he left. And I was like, oh, okay, good. Phew. Now, lesson learned. Next time I need new screens, I will employ somebody else, and I can go back to my nice, boring, happy, laid-back life. And I did. That evening I went out with my friend. I had a few drinks. I came home and I went to bed. And at about 1:30 in the morning, I wake up to the sound of a car alarm going off. And in my complex, there's just the owner's car and my car. So I thought, oh, it's the owner's car. And then it stopped. So I'm thinking, okay, good, it was the owner's car. That's the end of that. I'm just dozing off back to sleep again, and it starts off again. And I realize this is my car. So I got up, got dressed, and I went outside to see what was going on. And I get to my car, and the driver's side door is open. There doesn't appear to be anybody in the car, but on the floor of the driver's side there are a pair of pink flip-flops. So, and I must just say at this point that I always lock my car. And I'm, and maybe this particular time I didn't, because otherwise how would the door, there was no forced entry, there's no spare key, none of that, so maybe I didn't lock my car. But I was pretty sure that I did. Anyway, I take the pink flip-flops out and I put them on the ground. And then I get into the car to see if there's anything missing. And I mean, I don't leave anything in my car that can be stolen, but I have insurance papers and stuff in my glove compartment that, might have been rifled through. And nothing appears to have been stolen. And so I turn around to look at the back seat, and to my surprise, I discovered there's a young lady sitting in the back seat. And I just went, oh, what are you doing in my car? And she looked exactly the same. Oh, what are you doing in my car? And she had my papers in her hand. So I got out of the car, she got out of the car. And I'm saying to her, what are you doing in my car? And then I smelt the alcohol, and she started to slur as she answered her, as she started to reply to me, and she's saying, I've been set up. I've been set up. And she's waving my papers around in her hand, and she's saying, I'm going to find out who did this. I'm going to investigate. I'm like, oh, okay. So fortunately, just at that time, the police showed up, and they patrol around, the whole time. So they showed up, and I explained to them that my car alarm went off, and this lady's sitting in my back seat, and she's saying to them, I've been set up, I'm going to investigate this. And the guy says to me, he took me aside and he took my information and all that, and he said, well, she's clearly drunk. I said, yeah, yes, she is. Anyway, just then, a man comes out of the apartment near where my car is parked. Turns out that he's this lady's father, and she lives there with him. And so the police spoke to her, spoke to him, and told him to take her inside, sober her up, and try to not let this kind of thing happen again. And so we all went back to our lives, I hope. I went back to my nice warm bed. I could hear him saying something to her in the apartment across the way. And I'm hoping now that that excitement for the time being is over, and then I can go back to my very nice, laid-back, quiet life in Belize.